Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 10. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. And gentlemen, we had a Seahawks victory. It was fairly impressive. We're going to get into it here in just a little bit. But I just want to get some general thoughts. I just want to also briefly mention for those Mariners fans who really pay attention, Gold Gloves were handed out today for J.P. Crawford and Evan White. Just a little blip. Sean doesn't like Gold Gloves. He thinks they're stupid.
You said you weren't going to mention it.
Well, now I did just to
okay.
start with the intro and get you mad. So let's get right into the Seahawks game. They won 37-27. Again, if you want to tell us your thoughts on the game, tweet at us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. And Kev is at Kev Believes with the E. First E in Believes being the 3. If you want to reach us on Twitter, leave a comment on YouTube. Tell us what you thought of the Seahawks on Sunday. They won 37-27. Russ was 27-37, 261, 4 touchdowns. Did take 2 sacks. DJ Dallas was the main featured back, 18 carries, 41 yards, and a touchdown. And DK Metcalf was a beast, 12 catches, 161, 2 touchdowns. And then the defense looked pretty solid on this day, but we're going to get into that a little bit. Let's just go general thoughts, and we'll start with Sean. What do you think of the Seahawks overall on Sunday?
Their offense continued to do things. The wide receiver show continued to be who you don't cover, they will exploit, which is the best thing in the world to do. People forget that was it Mosley was covering DK, and he was actually not the 49ers' best corner this year. We talked about it last week on the podcast. Verrett is their best corner, and he covered Tyler all day. So the weaker, less effective corner covered DK, and I don't care if someone was like, why isn't Tyler getting throws to him, all this other stuff. I go, don't ever throw it to him. If they're going to leave one-on-one with an inferior corner on DK, go all day. And that's what they did all day. Just left him one-on-one, and you're just going to feed him. And there's no corner in the league that can stop either one of them. So whoever they don't double, just kill them with the other one. Their O-line played well enough. DJ Dallas didn't look great, but again, I don't think their O-line played particularly well. Russell did his thing. He was great again. Their defense showed up a little bit, and they did some nice things. I will say part of it is the 49ers having nothing on offense anymore. They're missing their number one receiver. They had a hobbled Jimmy G, who also looked like absolute trash, and I don't know why he was playing. He's clearly holding his team back. And then losing Kittle with a broken foot at the halfway point of the game, too, did not help their chances. So the defense looked better, but I think the 49ers helped us out quite a bit on that end.
Kevin, what were your general thoughts on the game? You saw a condensed version.
Yes. So starting out the opening 2 to 3 drives for the Seahawks were not great. Like the play scheming was just not, like the outside bubble screen that went for nothing. And then we get to like 2nd and 20 and then we just, yeah. And then they started heating up as kind of Sean mentioned, they covered Tyler with their best corner, so they took care of that matchup with DK. It kind of seems like they just alternate every week. Like the other team, they're just like, oh, this week we're going to cover Tyler, next week we're going to cover DK, and then the other one just goes apeshit on him. Like, and it's good to see. And Russell had a lot cleaner day, a lot better decisioning and his throws were a little bit more crisp. I can kind of say that, at least on his, like the one that he threw out for the touchdown, like to DJ Dallas. It wasn't like a little lob ball. It was just a snap right then there. So no, pick coming from Buda Baker type of deal. Defensively, the blitz packages were nice to see. It sounds like Bobby and a couple other people have been just wanting it, and they finally gave it to him, and we saw kind of the results, which is actually impressive because we didn't even, like, the one thing I mentioned too is that we have to respect that O-line because the 49ers O-line is very good. But as Sean mentioned, when everything else on that offense is not very good, then it kind of doesn't help your cause because they can't block forever. Like, though I will say they were getting to him relatively quickly. It wasn't like Jimmy was back there for 10 seconds. Yeah. So that was impressive to see. Alton Robinson, like, give the kid more snaps. Like we've been saying, like he would have had 2, but that's stupid.
I have more on that later, so we'll get into that. We'll get into Alton Robinson. Do not worry later.
Okay. But yeah, that stupid penalty of roughing the passer on him, which I get it. It's I think it's a little ticky tacky. Like, was he supposed
I
to?
see that both way. I could see
Yeah.
how you could say it's a penalty because he did leave his feet. I could see how you could say it's
Yeah.
not a penalty. I think if you think it's a penalty or not depends on what team you root for.
Yeah.
Honestly, in that regard.
But then we got one later with Russell too on the run, so it kind of evened itself out. So yeah, defensive play, I like kind of what they saw, like, and they kind of knew it too, this was the best time to do it. They didn't have their number one receiver, as Sean mentioned. You had a bunch of like very young kids to where you kind of trusted your secondary to be able to kind of keep up with those kids for enough time for those blitz packages to work. Now the thing that we'll see later on is whether that will go against better receiving cores, like if that scheme is going to work of doing all those blitz packages. But overall, I thought it was a solid day. Niners have a lot to worry about. It sounds like they're kind of just breaking down after trading Quad Alexander. Sounds like they're just kind of giving up, which is kind of weird because they're still 500, so they could easily make the playoffs. But
they got to fight through that rest of the division though. Like they're
Yeah,
now last
I know.
place and have lost two division games.
yes, because they lost to Arizona.
They haven't played the Rams yet, have they?
No, they have not.
So yeah, they're 0-2 in the division in last place. They're already at uphill battle.
But for a team that has, I respect them for a team that's just been, banged up. They did pretty good. And then we just played that preventive defense that we always do in the fourth quarter and gave up 20 points, which was kind of frustrating. But other than that, solid game. So
yeah, I thought the Seahawks played pretty well for the most part. The offense was, it was mostly Russ. I thought DJ was okay. He had a touchdown run and a touchdown catch, which was pretty nice to see. It just seems like they're pretty thin at running back right now, and not to say that DJ can't improve and be a couple down, maybe even 3 down running back, but didn't really see it in this game so much. It's great to see DK and Tyler like trade off games as a fantasy owner and a Tyler Lockett fantasy owner. I don't like it at all. But 4 for 33, I guess, is not absolutely the worst thing. It's
in real life. In real life, it's amazing because you can't double both of them.
Yeah. And the 49ers, I think, were the real story here. We all know they want to run the ball first, and Jimmy G is more of a support role, and they just couldn't do that with the fact that the Seahawks took the lead and then just kind of kept piling on. They had to get away from their game plan. I think we can all tell that Jimmy G is not healthy, and I don't know why they put him in. Like Sean said, I think he's probably done for the year if I were a betting man, because why roll him back out there at this point when Nick Mullins, granted he came in the fourth quarter, the Seahawks had a big lead, but like Kevin said, I was not confident with the Seahawks defense after watching that. Like the first 3 quarters were good, and granted you've got a big lead, but tighten up a little bit, man. Like don't let them just go all over the field, because they made it closer than it really should have been.
They were a 2-point conversion away from making it a 1-point game.
Yeah,
if they get that 2-point conversion, it's a 8-point game.
Yeah. And the defense did look better. And I want to say in particular, I think Bobby Wagner looked the best he's looked all season. That's saying something for the games he's played so far this year. But overall, I thought the defense was good enough. Once again, as it has been all year, but I don't really have as much confidence as I feel like I should out of a game like this because of how banged up the 49ers were. So, I think we all predicted a fairly close game, and it wasn't that at all, which is a little bit surprising, I think. But overall, like Kevin said, we talked about them. He said they traded Quan Alexander, which, I don't know if that's necessarily punting on the season, but it kind of feels that way, even though they're not out of it by any means at all. So that's kind of weird for them to do that. But I think Nick Mullins is probably this team's best chance moving forward based on what we saw, even with CJ Beathard coming in a couple games and playing all right. I think Nick Mullins is the better player of those two. But now looking, okay, let me throw this out there for you guys. I said in the beginning of the season that I think the home teams will hold serve in the NFC West. With Nick Mullins playing, I don't think that's the case next when they go to San Francisco. Are you guys in agreement with that?
For them, it depends on what their team looks like, because like Kevin said, they looked like a different team in the first half and second half. Like they suffered 2 injuries. Jimmy Graham and Kittle were done. Even Jimmy G, if he's healthy, the jury's still on how good he is, but you could tell at 40% is just terrible. And so it depends on if they get the receivers back. It depends on who they even had back there. If Sherman ever plays again this year, like this team, who knows what they're going to look like? I mean, I know it's week 17, but like Kevin said, they're shipping it in. We're recording on a Tuesday. The trade deadline hasn't happened yet. At least I don't recall. I think
it has happened.
It was today at 1.
Yeah.
It was at 1. Okay. I thought it was midnight Eastern. So never mind. So I flipped it. But like who knows what they're going to look like in a little bit. They might IR some people, just shut them down for the whole year because their season's done. Like 4-4,
well,
0-2 in the division. Like, how are you? Like,
well, here's what I thought might have happened. I mean, it didn't. I thought they might try and get Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, why would you not try and at least salvage the season a little bit when your defense is still pretty good, even with all your injuries?
Yeah, but your next 4 games now, throwing guy into it, is the Packers, Saints, Rams, and Bills. Like, Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to come in here and figure this out in 2 weeks because he can't even play the first week. He has to let him quarantine again, do all that other stuff. And then you're throwing him in there like, boom, right off the bat. And, I mean, you lose 2 more games, you're 4-6, and then Ryan Fitzpatrick plays. I mean, what are you doing?
I think if you kind of the main thing is if the running game gets healthy for me, because that's their bread and butter. I think with Nick Mullins, and we've seen when Jimmy was hurt 2 years ago that Nick Mullins can still kind of run that offense a little bit. It's not to the same degree, of course.
They don't have their 2 best weapons though in the passing
exactly.
Game. That's
but without
no
Kittle,
one's with none of those guys. Yeah. Or
I think if Kittle's able to come back by week 17, that could be a decent fight. But just because he's just such a threat. But if not, and also depending on what they have coming back on the defensive side of the ball too.
Bourne isn't, or Debo Samuel wasn't in the game either. No Samuel or Kittle. It's just like they don't have a ton of options. So you basically
and as Sean already mentioned, they've only played 2 division games, so that means they have fucking 6 to go that they're going to lose most likely. So, I mean. Yeah.
No, see, they did. They played the Rams. They
played the Rams and beat the Rams.
Oh, that's right. They beat the Rams. Sorry.
I was like,
so they have 5.
That, I thought they beat the Rams.
Yeah.
They have
5.
3. They have 3 left.
3. Sorry.
3 games left.
My math is terrible tonight.
You're thinking the total in the start of the season, not how much they have left.
Kevin, you've worked a lot in the last couple of days. We're going to give you a pass on the math. Okay. It's okay.
They have 3 division opponents still.
I do want to go to Twitter on this one. So, Brett tweeted a retweet saying DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson the best 1-2 punch in football. I do know that. And then he said, is he the best receiver on his own team? I would say no. I think this is an interesting debate. I don't think there's technically a wrong answer, but if you're asking me which receiver I would pick first in like a schoolyard or I'm having an NFL team, I think I'm just going to pick DK based on the size and speed. That's not to knock Tyler because we all know that Tyler is the number 1 receiver. But I'm just going to take the size and speed. It's just, you guys can disagree, but I just, if I'm picking a guy to start my team with, I'm taking DK, and that's not a knock on Tyler. It's just he's a little bit smaller. Like that's just it.
Me and Kevin have this conversation before, and Seahawks fans of somebody DK. Okay, so I'll look at it this way. So in efficiency numbers, DVA, DK is the 8th best receiver in football. Like he's a beast. He's an absolute monster. The 2 things I need most as a wide receiver, and these Seahawks fans should know this, it's what Doug Baldwin and it's what Steve Largent were. It's good hands and good route running. Speed and size are a bonus. You do not need those to be good. Oakland Raiders drafted 1st-round wide receivers who are fast and big for 8 years, and they all sucked. You need to be able to run routes and catch the ball when it's thrown to you. Doug Baldwin was a monster at it. Tyler is better at that right now than DK is. Now, can DK learn that? Yes. But right now you're asking me do I think DK will develop as good as Tyler is in both of those? I don't know if he'll ever get there in his career.
So are you saying you're going to take Tyler over DK?
I will take Tyler. Tyler right now is the number 2 most efficient receiver in football with a 80% catch rate versus DK's 60. Like he catches 20% more balls thrown at him than just DK does simply. Now, Tyler will never be 6'3", running a 4.3 or whatever he is. But again, those are bonuses. Like I'll break it down a play. Like Tyler on the first play, the last play of the first quarter will never score that touchdown DK did. He just isn't that fast and can't turn that corner like DK did. But we saw like the Rams play the last year.
Eddie can't do the play in the goal on the goal line either, where he boxes him out. Like he can't do that.
He can't do that. But like what we saw, like Kevin, like we're talking about the Rams game last year, we tiptoes that miracle throw Russell throws. We've never seen DK do that, but we saw Tyler do that a week ago again in Arizona with his feet. Like those are plays, and those are like control of your body plays that Tyler can do. Can DK get there eventually? Yes, but that's like it's completely changing who he is as a receiver. I don't know if he's ever going to get there.
All right, Kevin, break the tie. Who you taking?
It would just depend on like when, because I agree with both.
Right now.
Right now, it would be Tyler.
Okay.
I think DK has the higher ceiling.
Yes.
Because of his physical like he can get to the point of Tyler, and then you add on he has the higher ceiling because of his physical attributes.
He's 6'3".
Yeah.
Like Tyler's not 6'3".
And runs 4.4. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nuts. And he's jacked as shit. But if you're talking like right now, I would say Tyler. The main thing that Seahawks fans need to like stop doing, and this has been happening. Like after this past week, everybody was just like DK, like number one, the best. And I'm like, they're like, oh, he's going ape shit. He dropped 2 touchdowns, 160 yards. It's like, did y'all forget that literally 2 weeks ago, Tyler dropped 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in one game? Like, yeah. It's like they forget about this just because that DK is 6'3" and he's just big muscle man. Like, I get it. It's cool to see big receivers do awesome stuff because everybody wants that. They want that big Julio Jones, Megatron body that could do crazy athletic things. But at the same time, like if Tyler is being like Tyler and Russell have the highest efficiency between the quarterback and receiver combo in the NFL. Like, why wouldn't you want that? I think at the time though, like right now, like we are just blessed that we have 2 of the top 10. Like Seahawks fans,
2 of the top 8. Like they're both
enjoy that. Like that's why we're like dumping on people right now. We haven't even utilized our really good tight ends in Greg Olsen and Will Dissly. And now that they're saying actually Cody Parkinson's been doing good in practice, and that's why they bumped him up and said goodbye to Luke Wilson. I mean, I'm excited to see the 6'7" move, but yes, it's both. But I would take Tyler now. But like I said, DK has higher ceiling.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's a wrong answer. But if you're asking me to take one to start a team, I just like the size and speed. I understand what you're both saying, but.
I don't blame you. Yeah,
the man is a monster. We got one more from Twitter.
I want my receivers to catch it.
Fair. Matt Evans on Twitter. Shout out to Matt here. He said he's got a hot take. People complaining about the Hawks D need to STFU. I hope you all know what that means. Without them coming up with big plays when it mattered, this team is 4-3. So Matt, I do agree with you about the defense making big plays when it matters, but that does not necessarily take away from the fact that they have not been good this year. You absolutely have the right to complain about the worst pass defense in the league, and it's really not that close as far as I know. I mean, Dallas is kind of up there right now as well, but with the amount of talent on the defense, they got to be better. They got to be better. Now, granted, they have been making plays when they need to, and the team is 6-1, so that's good, but I have a feeling eventually the defense is going to catch up to us. And the Cardinals game, that there were both teams had a shot to win. I'm not going to blame the Seahawks defense on that, but I think there are going to come a couple games where the defense is going to. They're like a bend not break. I think that's what they've always been. I think they're going to break a couple times towards the end of the season. I just don't want it to be in the playoffs. What do you guys think?
You go first, Kevin.
Okay. Yeah, it's as Matt mentioned, this is not a good defense. Now they are like top 3 in takeovers. That's the one thing that they do well is they do turn the ball over, which is huge. Like that, and you put the ball in your best player's hands, which is Russell Wilson, to get more points on the board. So that's one thing they are doing well. And I like I said, I liked what they did with the blitz packaging. And I think with Jamal Adams getting healthier, as we've already mentioned in the past 2 podcasts, like this secondary just hasn't had enough time together to kind of get that chemistry to gel well. Linebacker core play has been great. Like even like Cody Barton, who's not even playing right now. Like every time he's in, like Cody Barton's actually just been really good. Like I kind of like what I've been seeing from him. And even Brooks, like Brooks has had good plays as well. Yeah, they do need to clean up the amount of yards that they give up per, and I think that like as we go forward, we'll see that a little bit more. They need to find the balance of what they can do well. Because like as I mentioned, the blitz packaging, you can't do that against a team like Arizona that has really good receivers, or like Atlanta to where you're blitz packaging and you have one-on-ones. Like if you one-on-one Julio and like Calvin Ridley, like you're gonna lose that battle. Like you have to get to Matt Ryan, you have to get to him now, or they're just gonna throw fade balls. Like that's what Russell and Doug did for so often. They would just blitz Russell, and Russell's like, okay, you got one-on-one with Doug, I'm just gonna throw it to him. Like, so they just got to find the nice, like, well balance between that of doing zone versus blitz, like one-on-one coverages, to make it to work in their favor. But yes, I mean, I get why Seahawks fans are pissed at him because they're so used to Legion of Boom. But at the same time, too, once this became Russell's team and Russell got the money that he did, like the transition was going to make a change. You can't have Legion of Boom back there with all those contracts and paying Russell at the same time. Moving forward, this is going to be an offensive team, and the defense is probably going to struggle a little bit more. Now, does that make an excuse to not get better? No, we should try to improve on that and get better, and I think they will in time. I don't think they're going to be a top 10 defense within the next couple of years. I just don't see it. All the money is going to Russell. You're going to pay Jamal Adams, and Jamal Adams is great, but he's not. You can't be a one-man wrecking crew.
Maybe pay Jamal Adams.
You may be. I hope you do. God, the future you gave up for it. Yeah, but so yeah, like I said, this is not going to be a top 10, probably not even a top 15. Like if you can make it to 15, 16, like you should be happy. Like if you're a 16th overall defense, like Seahawks fans, you need to be happy. That's really good. Honestly, if they can stay between 25 and 20, I'll be happy all day long. Just don't be in the bottom like 26 to 32. Just try to stay out of that area and hope. But like I said, you have Russell. This is an offensive team now. You're going to put money on the offense. So.
Okay. No, their defense is not good. The whole bend but don't break thing is a fallacy. You can't rely on that. It's pretty much luck. It comes down to one play here and there. I mean, they don't stop Minnesota.
I don't know about luck. I mean, you stop them on a play. That's
one
execution.
Play out of 60, though.
But
like
that's all you need at some of these games. Minnesota, New England,
you're making the case
Dallas.
That, like,
all you need is one play, and they've made it so far.
But like you can't count on this. This is like
exactly
you're rolling the dice over and over and over, and you've got to hit the sixes. And at the time you need it the most, you hit the sixes. That doesn't mean anything other than luck. You hit it when you needed it. And honestly, Kevin talked about it. Like if they had Cook back there on that fourth down play, they probably get the first down. So like it doesn't even matter what we did. They got hurt. So what I'm gonna say here is also another situation like. Cam Newton, I'm going to give you QBR, which is not a great stat, but it's a stat. Against us was 75 QBR. I'm going to list you off the next ones. 20, 18, 3, and 50. He has been horrible, and he threw for 400 yards against the Seahawks. The Seahawks aren't even close to a good defense right now. They played a lot better. I will say one thing. I kind of doubted their run game, but I love all the tackles they brought in, like Puna. They're what is it, Mode? I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah.
He's been great. And then they're going to have Snacks. Like, they've all been very good. So that's been a kind of pleasant surprise. And their linebackers across the board, with the exception of the third linebacker, Brooks or Barton, have shown flashes. But the other two, KJ and Bobby, have been amazing. Like, amazing. Top 6, both of them in the league. So their run game is legit. However, I think the teams know that. And like what Kevin was saying, they had no options for the 49ers this week. So they had to run it. And that's the one thing we do well. And Bobby was just playing out of his mind. So he blew up everything they did that day. Other teams that don't rely on the run and throw the ball are going to have more success. So they have to get better back there. Now, I don't see how they can get worse. They're the 30th ranked team in passing efficiency. So they will get better. They got to get better quicker, though, because we can't keep playing like this and expect to go very far. Kevin's right. This is an offensive team, or it needs to be an offensive team in the next couple of years. and they need to just be middle of the road. Don't need to be amazing. Don't need LOB. Don't need the Ravens defense back there, but just be okay.
Okay. We'll see how the defense shakes out. I think Bobby had a really good game, but the run defense is good, but they're just killing us in the secondary, and that's where we need to pick up. Let's move into the rest of the NFC West with Arizona on a bye this week, but once again, I'm the only one who predicted the game right. Tua coming in, doing absolutely nothing, and picking up the win. 28-17 against the Los Angeles
played
Rams.
like garbage.
He did.
Like complete garbage.
I don't know if he played like garbage because he barely threw the ball. Like he
that a little bit.
He didn't do anything. Like he barely had the ball. Like the Rams crushed the Dolphins in total yardage. Let me bring up the box score here.
It was like 400 to like 120 or something like that.
Yeah, and it was just not even close.
Who was yeah. It's not great.
Team stats, 471 yards for 145 yards. And Tua was 12 of 22, 93 yards and a touchdown. And, that's not good, but it was good enough because the defense of the Dolphins just
the defense and special teams.
Yeah,
they scored every single way.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say Tua got Pete Carrolled. They were just like, don't turn the ball over, especially after the first, throw play that he did, and he did turn the ball over. They were just super conservative after that. They just didn't give him any big. They're just like, make the throws when you need it. We're just going to go short and sweet. We're not going to do anything spicy. He got Pete Carroll pretty much.
28-10 at halftime, and they just didn't score a single point in the second
half. And like people need to like register that defense. Like Dolphins defense, they put money in that defense. Like Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy. They also got Shaq Lawson, I think, is on that. Yep. Like they paid for that defense, and like it's showing. Like that defense is like legit. We got very lucky. Byron Jones was gone, the week that we played him because
they're the 11th ranked defense in football right now.
Yeah, people need to respect that defense. It's gonna get better. Like that's the scary part. So like right now, there's no need for Tua to get all spicy when their defense is playing solid. And Myles Gaskin has been a surprise for them, so they have a decent running game, and then you just throw to Parker and
you say that the day he's terrible, but yeah, I agree for the most part.
He did have a rough game. I will say that.
But everyone has a rough game against running into Aaron Donald. I mean, it just happens.
Yeah, that's very true.
I just want to point out the losses for the Rams. They're 5-3. They're third in the NFC West, but their losses are at the Bills, at the Dolphins, at the 49ers. And their wins really not that impressive. They beat the entire NFC East, and the Bears. So the next thing on their schedule is the Seahawks after their bye week on 11-15. So we'll see where they kind of stack up. But before the season, I said that the Rams would be the worst team in the division. Now with San Francisco's injuries, I think that's not quite going to be true. But what do you guys think of this 5-3 Rams team? I mean, if you can just swallow up Jared Goff and make him just like their run game, where is their run game? Darrell Henderson went out, and Cam Akers and Malcolm Brown did some things, but if the offense can't do anything, then they clearly can't win because Miami doesn't have to do anything and they won the game. So how good is this Rams team? Sean, I'm gonna throw it to you.
You say that they're the number one rated running game in the league, so by a very wide margin. They're very good at that. They are terrible at passing. So you said stop Jared Goff. Can we do that, though, with any consistency? So I'm going to go on my Alden Robinson rant right here. So he needs to play, and he needs to play for a while. Now, let's say he comes in and just does amazing. I will be furious because why was Pete Carroll not playing him for the first 7 weeks of the season? He didn't in these 6 days in between games. He didn't just become amazing. So if he is amazing and is amazing the rest of the year, that means Pete Carroll was a failure to recognize his talent during the season or during whatever sort of little offseason they had. It is not the first time it has happened, basically the entire LOB, that defense. So why was he not playing more? Why was he not playing more? Why is it going to take more getting 6-game suspension from PEDs to get him in this lineup? And like, we were such a dysfunctional defensive line that he needed to play more. Back to the Rams. Sorry, I had to do that. That was just infuriating me.
all good.
I think with them, they will get better. Robinson is the best option. Their interior guys with snacks and everybody like that, and Dunlap playing will help them a ton. That rotation will help. Ben Smollett has been, but I still don't know if they're going to get enough in Goff's face. Sean McVay kills Pete Carroll. Ugo got hurt, so their nickel's kind of like up in the air, and Blair's also done for the year. So my issue is, what they have, like Taylor that they got last week from the 49ers practice squad or whatever.
I think DJ Reed's going to play nickel.
Or DJ, sorry. Yeah. I don't know who he is or what he's going to do, or we're going to play nickel or trust him or go back to base. But I don't want to see Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods running down the middle of the field, not covered by anybody anymore. And I have just PTSD from that. I can't.
Hold on. Rams are seriously the number one run offense?
Yeah.
How?
They're really efficient at it.
Who's the top three? Do you have it on there?
Yeah. Rams, Baltimore, Minnesota, Arizona, New England, San Francisco, Tennessee, Seattle.
Really? The Rams?
Yeah. There's a big gap. There's a big gap. Like,
I'm very surprised by that. They don't seem like a run.
They're very efficient. Like, they're very good at it.
Fair enough.
It's not about volume, because I can get a guy 100 yards if I hand the ball 30 times. It's what do you do with the 10 carries I give you? And they average 4.5 yards a carry this game. The Dolphins average 2. Like, they're very efficient in their runs.
All right, fair enough. Kevin, what do you think of the Rams? What are your thoughts?
Sorry, I was gonna say, like, we don't know who they are yet. We don't know who they are yet.
Yeah.
Because again, like you said, they beat the bad teams and they have lost to like the okay teams. So
you pulled a me and went on a tangent.
Sorry, yeah, we don't know who they are. We really don't know who they are yet.
In my opinion, so far from what we've seen, just based off of like the Bills game is a kind of a big indicator with what they did through downfield. I think that secondary is a little overrated. I think Jalen Ramsey's solid. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's trash, but is he worth what they gave up for him? I don't think so.
No.
Hold on.
I think that like I said, I don't think they're terrible, but I just don't think they're what they gave up to have what they have back there. They need to get Aaron Donald a little bit more help, because it's just been the Aaron Donald show, as we've already mentioned. So that defense on paper is not as good as what it should be, in my opinion. I think they've struggled a little bit in the passing game because Jared Goff's safety blanket has been god-awful this year, and his name is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has always been his safety blanket, his go-to guy when shit hits the fan, and Cooper Kupp has just had like butterfingers this year. Like, I don't know what's going on. And like I said, I'm from Eastern. That's my boy, and I don't know what is going on with him. Like, Robert Woods has been amazing. Like, that's what we need to fear right now.
Cooper Kupp had 20 targets this last game. So
yeah, but like,
11 catches. 11 catches.
That's not efficient. You have 21 targets, only catch 11 of them. That's not good.
Well, there's I mean, we would have to go through the film. Not every target is catchable. Like,
I know, but like, that's a horrible percentage. Like, even then, that's a horrible percentage. Yeah. Either he was the most unlucky receiver all year, or that was bad.
I don't know what's going on with him, but like, and I think it's just kind of put him off, because like right now it's literally Higbee kind of shows up every now and then, but Robert Woods is the only thing that's going down that field. And like, all you have to do is just cover Robert Woods and get some pressure on Goff, and you pretty much win. And because I think we're going to stop the run, just like we've already mentioned, our run stopping defense has been pretty good. And Goff isn't mobile, so we can get after him. So, overall, I think they're an okay team. I don't think they're really good, and I don't think they're really bad. I think they're a nice middle of the road team that could contend for a playoff spot, like a wild card. If they keep continuing, and hopefully if that defense kind of works out its struggles and get somebody like I've already mentioned, like Leonard Floyd. I don't know how he's not getting more pressure help and stuff like that, because it can't just be the Aaron Donald show. So.
Kevin, I will say Ramsey was sick last week and hasn't been cleared to play yet, so he might not even play.
Oh, I didn't even know. Yeah, I watched the highlights. I didn't even know he played.
Never mind. They have a bye. He'll be
ready
in 2 weeks. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break and come right back and talk a little bit about the next game for the Seahawks. And we're back. If you're watching on YouTube, we never even went away. So I'm going to talk about, let's talk about the most recent addition that was more of a big name. We recorded on Tuesday last week, and then Wednesday morning, the Seahawks acquired Carlos Dunlap. So we haven't had a chance to talk about it. I was kind of thinking maybe the Bengals might be in the market to shop, but Joe Burrow has actually looked not too bad. So I thought maybe they might just kind of hold out with him, but we got Carlos Dunlap, a little bit of an older defensive lineman. What do you think he adds to this team? I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. I mean, I like the depth that we're going to add with him. He's just going to kind of make it more of a rotation out there. But if he comes out and, is like all pro form, that would be fantastic. I'm not expecting that at all. I'm just expecting solid defensive play from him in a rotation with a lot of guys that are just hoping to get to the quarterback. Kevin, what do you think of this addition and how much does it help?
For what we gave up for him, I was actually kind of happy. We only gave up a 7th round, and we gave up a backup lineman that we never used, who got beat by a guy who hasn't played center since college. So it's just kind of like, okay, I'm okay with that. We needed to make a move, and John and Pete did. Is he going to break the world? No. He might get a couple sacks here and there. As long as he kind of helps get pressure, I don't really care. And kind of keeps guys fresh. We just need bodies kind of back there, and maybe he could give also a little bit of experience to the new guys like Alton and a couple of the guys that are still kind of newish, like in their 2nd, 3rd year. Be like a little bit of a veteran presence, so to speak, because I don't really, even though Benson Mayo and Bruce Irvin are, I don't know how much Bruce is there being injured. So I don't really trust Benson Mayo to give all the greatest advice. He only has 1 sack on the year, but at the same time too, even though people have kind of graded, he has had a kind of a down year this year, but at the same time, you're on a rebuilding team and you're 31. So I don't know why you would go balls out playing for a team that's probably going to get 4 or 5 wins most. Even though like that offense looked very impressive, I will say, as just a short sidetrack this past week against the Titans, they had a very good mix. Like the receiving core is if they get AJ Green going, because he's had some kind of woes along with T Higgins and Boyd, that's a solid 3 right there. That's really nice. And having Giovanni Bernard and what's the other kid? Mixon. Yeah. The only bad thing is you just have a not so good O-line. So, and then the defense as well. But, yeah. So from what he added, I don't hate the move. We had to do something and they did it. If it doesn't pan out, we gave up a 7th round pick. I don't care. We barely, shoot. We took our 7th round pick this year. We put into a defensive end who was a tight end. So, I'm not mad at it at all. So,
Sean?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. He wasn't playing well this year, but we traded him for super cheap. He's even last year is super good. So it might be just like a 5-game, like Kevin said, on a 1-win team kind of struggling situation. Wanted to move on, so he comes to a winning team now, and maybe that's all what he really needs. He's been great just even recently. So I like the rotation. I like the depth. And again, he can only help. We weren't doing anything anyways.
Yeah, true. So rest of the league was for the most part fairly chalk. I don't know if any results stood out to you guys besides the Vikings taking to the Packers. I thought that was an interesting result.
Matrix
And
again.
At this point, I don't know if we have enough time to talk about this, but I kind of wanted to bring up the topic of coaches and how much they have an effect, because we could talk about who kind of pulls the strings, because Bill Belichick is still there. Tom Brady is not. It's depending on your view, who was the most who's the biggest factor in their Super Bowls?
They've lost to the 2 people who are in the Super Bowl, the Seahawks, the Bills, and then they had 1 fluke against Denver. So they've lost to very good teams, had 8 people on their team opt out from COVID, and lost Tom Brady. They basically got gutted and played good teams.
Yeah.
They were 1 yard away from beating us.
And that's when they look pretty good. But right now they are just bad.
I was gonna say,
Just
well, they were
bad.
Cam not fumbling last week to not losing that game either. So, I mean, it's a NFL, one play
Yeah.
here and there.
True. Well, I just want to throw out one thing I heard throughout the sports shows today. There is talk about a 16-team NFL playoff happening this year. I'm not sure if you guys heard about that, but they were thinking about doing the typical 1-8, 2-7, that sort of thing, and having no buys at all. I think it's an interesting proposition. Not sure I'm willing to change the playoff format in the middle of the season, because that would change a lot of things for maybe not so much for the Seahawks, but for some of those teams who might
That would screw the Seahawks.
How so?
Because they're going to be the number 1 seed. They would get a bye and home field throughout it. Like, now you're going to make them play that game?
I mean, I don't think the bye is that big of a deal.
It's a huge deal. No, the numbers say it's an absolute huge deal. Like, that is the biggest thing. Your odds of going to the Super Bowl if you get the 1 or 2 seed is like exponentially higher.
All right. Well, I don't think it's a big deal for the bye week.
It's just simply you not have like NFL or one game, one and done. You don't have to play one of the games where like a fluke cannot happen. It's a big deal. Like,
I understand what you're saying, but if I have confidence in my team, I'm not worried about who they play.
It's not about confidence. It's about health.
I know that too. But
one play cannot cost us.
Had we won against the Niners last year when we were all banged up and got a week to heal, like, just saying,
we could have lost to Kansas City in the Super Bowl. We could have lost to Kansas City.
What ifs, what coulda, shoulda, whatever. But I think it's obviously the NFL is a business. It's obviously a business decision. And if you have more teams in the hunt, that's obviously a little bit more money in your pocket. Obviously, from a player's perspective, I don't think they're going to accept that or even
you started this year. Please don't screw the Seahawks. No adding. Do it next year. Like, don't do it this year.
I mean, then how upset are you that the number 2 team doesn't get a bye this year then?
They already knew it going into it. Like, it wasn't like they didn't change anything now, like not in week 8. Like they knew it going in. It's not the best, but they knew it at least.
It also, too, it allows teams. I didn't mind the 2 because 1, it makes you to where you like week 17 becomes more interesting because a lot of people who, when they had the 1 and 2 seed locked up and there was nobody else, like they just didn't give a crap. They're like, well, we're going to get a bye anywho, type of deal. Like now you're going to want to fight for that in week 17, so to speak, to try to get that home field advantage. I don't like the 1 through 8 just because it just makes the regular season null and void pretty much. Because like you could literally, like the NFC East would still have an opportunity to have like 2 or 3 teams still get in, even though they've played like shit for the first half of the season.
Would they?
Like,
they're gonna get 1 and that's it. I don't care how many teams.
No, I'm saying like if they turned to like around and stuff like that. But like if you're doing 16 teams, like 8 teams out of each one, like no,
like you're adding just 1 more team. That's literally all you're doing.
Well, 2 years from years prior though. We haven't played the 7 yet.
Yeah, I mean all you're doing is adding 1 team to the current format, so it's not like a major change really.
I just think at that point it just starting to like what's the point of the regular season, like especially when we start
playoffs
and when we start to see teams with like 8-8 records like getting in and stuff like that, like
we're gonna see a 6-10 NFC East team.
That is true. But I mean, remember in 2011 when the Seahawks got in at 7-9 and everybody was crapping their pants, just like how this happened, that kind of thing. Even though then we went and go and beat the Saints, but I think it's fine the way it is now. I wouldn't mind if they go back to what the old one is, just because I think it makes it more competitive. But having the 1 and making the first seed like the crown jewel, I didn't mind that. So.
Oh, not quite. I would say right now that if it was 8, all 4 NFC West teams would get in, but not quite because the Eagles would actually bump out the 49ers because they would have to get in because they win their division.
Yeah. So I mean, it wouldn't. I don't see it happening. It was something that was proposed. I would imagine
it
the
happened
players
in
are
baseball. Did you notice that too? It happened in baseball right after the season started. They changed their playoff rules. I don't like it. If you're going into whatever you're going into, that's fine. But in the middle of the season, changing something season's already started.
I kind of enjoyed it in baseball personally, but
No, I didn't mind it, but they changed it after the season had started. They're like, oh yeah, now we're changing the playoffs. I'm like, well, I mean, I know they'd only got one game in and only two teams had played, but still, the idea of like you starting a season, being like, okay, we signed this, let's do this, and they're like, oh, we changed it.
Fair. All right, let's jump into the Seahawks going to Buffalo to take on the Bills at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Early game. Kevin, are you able to watch this one? Are you actually able to watch this one live? Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'll be there.
So as we know, they defeated New England 24-21 on a Cam Newton fumble last week. History has shown the Seahawks winning in Buffalo as recently as 2012. And that was Russell Wilson getting the win with Marshawn Lynch on the team against Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has been a little bit everywhere. The Seahawks have won the last two games. The last time they met, the Seahawks won 31-25 against the Bills in Seattle. Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback for the Bills at that time.
Mhm.
Sean McCoy was the running back. So a little bit of different personnel. And then the last time the Bills defeated the Seahawks in Buffalo was in 2008. And the running back for the Bills was none other than Marshawn Lynch. So Seahawks had Matt Hasselbeck. And tell me if you recognize these names for rushing on the Seahawks. Julius Jones, Maurice Morris, and Leonard Weaver.
Yeah, Julius Jones. Yeah.
Cowboys
spent that money to get him. Yep.
Quite a long time ago. And the receivers, too. Nate Burleson, John Carlson, Logan Payne, Courtney Taylor.
Nate Burleson or John Carlson was that tight end, big sexy.
Yep.
Yeah. So much different personnel, and Trent Edwards was the quarterback for the Bills. So that's quite a long time ago. So recent history favors the Seahawks with a 2-game winning streak coming in, but the Bills are 6-2, leading the AFC East. I believe they have a negative point differential, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
Looking at this matchup, let's throw it to Sean first. What do you see in this matchup, and what are going to be the biggest factors?
Well, the Seahawks are simply the better team. Right now, their offense ranks 3rd. The Bills ranks 8th. Their defense ranks 23rd. Ours ranks 21st. We're better in both facets. That Seahawks games get weird, though. Everyone sees it. We always find a way to make things spicy. I think the thing is you have to let Josh Allen make him throw and make him be accurate. He has an arm and Diggs can go get it, but make him throw into a window. This O-line is actually playing okay. Their tackles are pretty good. But if you can get a little pressure, I know it's the same every week, but if you can get a little pressure, maybe blitz with Bobby again, because that seemed to be working, or if Adams plays, blitz with Adams, something to get into Josh Allen's face. He's not – people say he can run. He can, but it's not the same as like a Lamar Jackson where he's shifty. He's kind of like he'll make a move and go, and he's surprisingly fast, if that makes sense. So I'm not worried about him like – really busting out of the pocket too much versus designed runs and actually running for plays. So just get in his face and make him throw into tight windows, and I think you'll be just fine because he has struggled recently doing that. And as for the other side, their corners are not great.
Don't they have Tre'Davious White, who's one of the – is he not?
Yeah, but he has not played well recently.
Okay.
So he's been getting kind of picked apart, and they haven't played really a lot of talent, so he should be playing much better. Their D-line's pretty good, which is unfortunate, but I think on this side, you could run the ball in theory. Their linebackers have been terrible. In the middle, their tackles have been terrible. So you could, in theory, run this ball, but it depends on who is in the backfield at this point. I still say let Russ cook. Whoever White is not covering, you just go after that person. And run little intermediate routes because they have like at least one decent safety in Jordan Poyer. So he's going to kind of be like their free safety, their Earl Thomas back there roaming, and he's could cover a lot of ground. So I would say like crossing routes are just kind of something to stay away from his side of the field. Let Russ cook and please blitz Josh Allen.
I would have to agree with you for most of what you said. Josh Allen is he does have an arm, and Diggs does worry me. I think Diggs will have a big game.
He's not accurate though.
You catch a couple balls for a couple touchdowns, doesn't matter.
But you gotta throw in a window. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't let him throw deep. Just make him throw into a window.
I imagine they're gonna take at least a few shots with Diggs, and I think one of them
Then
at
play
least
cover
is going to
two.
hit.
Then play cover two over the top.
I think Cole Beasley is going to be a big factor in this game. I think he's going
Cover
to dink
over
and
the
dunk.
top. Make him throw those dink and dunks.
He's gonna
He
dink
will
and
screw
dunk.
those up. He will screw those up.
Okay,
You'll get a pick. You get a pick if you do that.
I'm fine with that, and I think Zach Moss and Devin Singletary will play a pretty decent factor in this game. Getting on the outside and getting on the outside and getting outside and getting some yardage that way. So I think the offense for the Bills is going to be pretty good at least 20 points. The Seahawks, obviously let Russ cook. But the the tight ends I feel like are going to be a little bit more involved in this game. Like at some point I feel like teams are going to be like, let's just lock down DK and Tyler, and that's obviously hard to do with both of them at the same time, but that's essentially what you have to do, and maybe make Freddie Swain or Greg Olsen or hey, maybe Colby Parkinson sees the field. Kevin, who knows? But
Uncle Will, you forgot about Uncle Will.
Sorry, Will Disley. Sorry, Will Disley.
Jeez.
But generally I worry about the Seahawks going to the East Coast, but they've been pretty solid for the most part on the East Coast lately, so I'm not super worried about that. The only concern would be weather. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. If it's Buffalo snowy, that would worry me a little bit more. I'm going to look it up right now. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Okay. So my thoughts on this game have kind of changed since the beginning of the year when I did my original picks, just because, especially within the last 3 weeks, because one, I think if this game has, and as Matt will find out here, if it's decent weather, I think this is going to be a murder by the Hawks. Just because one, in the last 2 weeks, the Bills have barely beat a absolutely horrible New England offense, as we are.
And their offense didn't look good doing it either.
No, yeah. They beat them 24-21, and they were going to either tie it and go into overtime or lose it, but then Cam Newton with 34 seconds left fumbled when they're in field goal range already. So it's like, and then the week before that, they barely beat the Jets. It was a game of field goals against a horrible Jets team. Like, this team in the last couple of weeks has just looked awful. Like, the defense has looked bad. Their offense really looked great. They do have the deep threat, but like, honestly, if you cover Diggs with, as Sean said, with cover two, like, I mean, you have Beasley, who's a respectable secondary, but other than that, their run game is actually not that good, to be honest, this year. Singletary is not that great. Zach Moss has been okay. I think you could hold them to under 21 respectably. And we're the only team in the league that has scored 27 points or more this whole year. Every game we've scored 27 points or more. So I think, honestly, I don't know if the Bills are going to even get to 27 points. They didn't even get to that against one of the worst defenses in the league in the Jets. Like, I think Josh Norman's going to get exposed by either Tyler or DK, whoever the hell's on him. I think Josh Norman's just going to have a horrible day because we've always played very well against Josh Norman.
Well, Josh Norman is forever owned after that Derrick Henry play. So
like Doug always had his number. I think like especially if they put Tyler on him or DK, like the jukes are just like Doug just had his number all the time, like just because of Juke City. What he did,
and Josh Norman did not play last week either, so he's questionable.
Yeah. So honestly, if the weather's shitty, I think this is a different game because the Russell doesn't play.
Kevin, can I update you on that? It is Tuesday, but it does say right now for Sunday 66 and sunny. So wind 6 miles an hour, 10% chance.
Gotcha. So it's going to be 20 degrees and snowy as shit.
And 40 miles an hour.
Yes. It's going to be a blizzard. Okay. If it stays like that, I honestly think that this game could get a little nutty. And we'll go into final predictions later, but just because like they've just like the last 3 weeks, they looked awful. Like ever since they got exposed in that when Tennessee, they were Tennessee, yeah, exactly. Since then, like they haven't really done anything. And even in the Rams game, like the Rams like came back on them and should have beat them, but they just got a play call in their favor with a terrible PI call on them.
Miami dropped a pick. Game ends.
That too.
That ball,
so like,
game ends.
Well, I just don't respect what they're doing right now, and I think Russell Wilson is just salivating, and I think DK and Tyler are as well.
Can I at least say something about the Titans game? Wasn't that a game that was supposed to happen one week and then it was pushed back and then it happened on a Tuesday and wasn't even sure it was
Yeah.
going to happen? That one was a
But they lost by 30. Like it wasn't like they like lost by a
correction. It was 26. Thank you.
Okay. But still, it wasn't like they lost by. They're like we moved it back a day and then lost by 3. No, you lost.
Honestly, had it not been raining in that Kansas City game, like I think Pat Mahomes goes for like 15 points more on him. Like the only reason why that game was even remotely somewhat close, and even though they
happened,
is because it was just raining buckets. So like I said, it will now if it's I think it will be more like the Kansas City game if it is raining and has like bad weather. But if it's decent weather, like I just see Russell dropping another 4 or 5 touchdowns on him. Yeah.
And I will point out margin of victory for their 6 wins here. I'm just going to run down against the Jets at home, 10, at Miami, 3, versus LA Rams, 3, at Vegas, 7, at Jets, 8, and home against the Pats, 3. So they're not blowing teams out.
They have a negative point differential.
Yeah, they have a negative point differential. So it doesn't look good on paper for the Bills, but I do not see this being a runaway game for the Seahawks. I just like I said,
Seahawks can't do that.
Well, I just in the beginning of the season, I felt like this was a trap game. Like Kevin pointed out, the Jets, almost beating them 2 weeks ago, but I kind of see that like an Alabama taking on like an Ole Miss. Like so, you scrape by a lesser team, you still won. So move on and improve the next week. So I don't.
That's offensive to Ole Miss to compare them to the Jets right now.
All right, to Alabama State.
That's more the Jets. Alabama State.
Okay, there you go. So I don't see that as a huge factor because they're trap games, and I mean the Seahawks could play exactly the same against the Jets. I really hope not, but they could. So I don't want to take the Bills lightly, and I think it's gonna be a close game. So let's start the predictions. I'll go ahead and start. I do think the Seahawks score quite a few points, and I think they add a late touchdown to make it double digits. So I'm gonna go 35-25 in this one. Kevin?
Okay. I think this is gonna be two. I think it's gonna kind of be like the Niner game. I'm gonna give you 2 predictions.
You're just gonna cover. No. You're just gonna pick everything.
No. I'm gonna give you what I think the score is going into the 4th quarter, and then I'm gonna give you the score at the end of the game.
Okay.
I think they're gonna be up by a lot, just kind of like the Niners game. I would say it's gonna be probably like 30 to like 13, and then it's gonna end probably. I'll say 37. 28.
Ooh, 1 score. He brings it to a 1-score game.
That's 9 points. That's 9 points.
Wait, what did I say? Oh, sorry. I'm thinking.
37-28. It's 9 point spread.
Oh, 37-28. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I was distracted by looking up the fact that the Jets haven't scored 100 points this year.
God, that's true.
They're averaging 12 points a game. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of go along with Kevin, but I'm gonna say they're gonna clean up that 4th quarter. I don't think it's close. I think Jamal Adams, Dunlap playing Alden Robinson, blitzing Bobby Wagner. Please continue doing that. He was amazing. They're going to get after Josh Allen. They're going to make him throw into windows, and he cannot do that. He will throw 2 picks. They'll get after him. I say 34-17.
Ooh.
Final score.
Okay.
They cannot beat good teams. They just can't.
I think Singletary's going to fumble it too. So
I don't like the Bills that much, honestly.
And I'm gonna give a hot take. If Josh Gordon plays, he's gonna get exposed by either Tyler or DK.
Josh Norman.
So
Josh Norman.
Sorry, did I say Gordon? Damn it!
Yeah.
I just want Josh Gordon to play.
If Josh Gordon played defense for the Bills, he probably would get exposed.
No, I want Josh Gordon to play for us.
Okay. And wide receiver, not defense.
Damn it.
Okay.
But no, if Josh Norman plays, he's gonna get either exposed by either DK or Tyler. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's gonna get eaten alive.
Yeah.
All right, we got about 27 minutes left. Sean, bring up your share screen. Show us some plays from the Seahawks and the 49ers game. I hope these are good selections. You selected most of these plays, so
Whoa. Okay, so this
Um,
first one's gonna be really easy. I think it's really fun, but it needs to be done by more teams. So this plays early in the game. So how do I get this thing out here? Okay, so Jimmy G's up at the top here, and the best part about this play is the Seahawks just don't cover him. So all the times you see in all these plays, you see like most unathletic quarterback, like Peyton Manning up at the top, and ever somebody runs up and covers him, and I scream, "Why do you cover this person?" If the 49ers want to throw this ball to Jimmy G, make him throw the freaking ball to Jimmy G right here. They finally didn't, and look what happened. They had an extra guy in the box and blew this play up. Don't respect Jimmy G out there. He is the most unathletic person. If you want to throw that football, do it. And they didn't, and it was perfect. I loved it.
Well, I also like this play because he tackles both of them.
Yeah, well, that too.
He's like, oh, he doesn't have the ball. I'm going to tackle this guy now.
Yeah, but still, like that's the idea. Like, it's just like things that make obvious sense that we think about, and I'm just like, why don't you do that? And then they just did it. They're like, I'm not gonna respect you running this play because why would I? I don't trust you. So that. Oh shoot! I already screwed this up.
Oh man!
Oh
What
gosh!
Are you
Oh
doing?
gosh!
Oh my god!
Oh
What
gosh!
is going on?
Oh my gosh! We don't want to hear
You're
commentators.
so drunk.
We don't want to.
Can you slow it down here? You're going too fast.
What?
There we go.
Jesus.
Is this the pick?
This is the pick. So what I wanted to talk about here was there's just no pressure here. This is what I'm talking about with Jimmy G and like the whole. There's just a clean pocket right here.
Mhm.
There's just nothing there.
But I mean, looking at the coverage, it's not too bad.
It's not, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he decides to make this throw. There's nothing. It's off his back foot. He's getting all happy feet, and he throws it behind the guy. We make a good play, but there's no pressure.
Just as a thing, Jake Heap says that was a good thrown ball. And I was literally in my car listening.
That?
Yeah, and I was in my car. I was like, it was thrown behind him. I was like, I've only seen the film once in a condensed film, and I saw it was thrown behind him, and it was like, it was a terrible ball. I'm not saying it was like 8 yards behind him, but it was behind him. Like that was not a good.
Yeah,
good
we can see this. Like
Jake Heaps is on crack. Yeah,
well, we'll see it from the other angle here in a second.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a well placed ball.
No.
Like,
Look, it's behind
no,
him.
he threw it at least a good solid 2 yards behind him.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Maybe,
that's what
he thought.
Maybe the route was like, because it looks like Kittle just falls and he picks it off. Like it's hard to tell what happens to Kittle
Not even the top. No, he throws it behind him. Like, he just straight up throws it behind him. I think what it was he gets happy feet. See, like right about here, he's getting all happy feet. He's getting all antsy. He's literally moving his feet like that. And then he's still hurt clearly in this play because he doesn't get anything behind this ball, and he throws it behind him. And I'll take it, Jimmy, because I think, like Matthew said, Mullins doesn't make that throw. Like, that's not a pick we get. And they're on the 20? That's points.
Yep.
That's just straight up points. Here you go. Here's another one for you.
That's why we're not worried about injuries. We got DJ Reed. Look at that play.
DJ Reed. Kevin was not.
I mean, he plays solid. I'm not gonna say he was like he had a solid game, but like he was like trying to make it like DJ Reed was like the next, because with Blair out and then Ugo out, they're like, well, we got DJ Reed, like he's stepping up, and I was like, that pick was thrown straight to him. Yeah. I'm like,
I'll be honest, it was more of a nice. He
had a couple of good other plays too, but like, I'm not gonna say like let's sign DJ Reed to a contract right now, but like,
so I want to talk about this play because for longest
depth
time,
it was okay.
For the longest time, Seahawks fans always hated the screen plays,
my God,
and I did with Bevel too. But this one works because of a couple things. You ran the play with the right person. Moore's job on this play is to beat.
You say screen?
No, like a sweep.
Yeah, it was jet sweep.
Yeah.
But his job is to beat his guy. His guy is right here. He has to beat him down here. That's it. Can he beat him? I gotta erase this stupid thing. It's not my clear function is not working. but he has to beat him, and he does. And these two guys block, and it went for 12 yards. Like for years, everyone's like, these aren't working because the receivers were not blocking anybody. These two guys, the two tight ends, blocked their bodies, and Moore didn't do anything cute. Tyler Lockett just ran straight to the point, beat your linebacker to the sideline, and he did.
You mean
That's
David
it.
Moore?
But
He didn't pull a
You said
Golden
Lockett.
Tate.
No, I said Lockett would always like fart
Yeah.
around and
Oh,
like
gotcha. Sorry.
do
Yeah,
his
he
thing.
tried to do a Golden Tate and like
Just get to the sideline, beat your guy there. Like stop.
I want to see some Nick Ballore plays. That's what I want to see.
I want to see never him play again.
He had that great catch and he powered through to the first down. How dare you?
Okay, so this play is obviously the super sexy play that Tyler can never do. Sorry, Tyler, I love you, but I've been defending you this whole time. But
Yep.
DK's an absolute freak. So thank you, Connor,
Coverage. Yeah, coverage falls down, so that helps.
But I want to throw out two other things here, like receiver Hollister here and Disley. These are two great blocks downfield. Hollister waits to not block him in the back. Awesome. So do not get this play called back, which was fantastic. Does not hold him either. So like that could have ended horribly for DK if like that play is called back. He did not do that.
Mm-hmm.
But DK, I want to watch DK again now.
You mean like the touchdown that got called back 2 weeks ago in Arizona?
Yeah.
DK,
he ran he ran 45 yards and even longer going around and did not get touched by a 49er player. A 49er player did not touch him on this play, and he ran across the middle of the field.
I do like DK's play. I like Hollister's block almost the same because he didn't block him in the back. He waits for him.
Yeah,
and Hollister is a guy who knows, like, you know, a couple of bad plays and he might not even be on the team because
he waited for him to not hold him on the sideline either. Like it was beautiful. Like honestly, that blocking was beautiful. But DK too, like to turn it up and the way he did was just there's not many people who could do that. This play is Puna and Bobby just doing their thing. I wanted to highlight it because, like I said, the interior of this D line the entire day and Bobby are just because Puna just blows it up. Puna doesn't actually make the tackle, but this is the whole idea of like tackles make everything. Puna made this play. This play is done right now.
God, yeah, well, yeah, you got a defender here, and here.
But Puna doesn't actually make the play, and Bobby actually cleans it up, which is good. But Puna, it will not show up in the stat sheet what Puna did on this play. And that's what I'm saying. Like when they say like tackles or the other things, Puna deserves a lot of credit for this play for getting him to cut back right into Bobby. That is basically why I kind of believe this run game is like the real deal because of plays like this. This was happening kind of quite often. Like everybody really does their assignment. Like it's perfect. Everybody's taking their blocks. Actually, did I say Puna? Yeah, 97. That's not Puna. It's 92.
Isn't it? Yeah, isn't that Monet?
Yeah.
No, Monet is 92. Yeah.
Yeah, because Puna was the guy next to him. But yeah, point still stands.
Can you can you do one play for me? You do the Jermichael Hasty touchdown run on the goal line.
Which play is that one?
Towards the end of the second quarter.
The one where he stretches it across?
Yeah, right here. You're on it. Down. Little. Yeah. Okay. You were.
I clicked on it. Come on, man.
Is it?
So
Okay.
slow.
Sorry, I didn't see. Okay. I thought that this, even though they don't stop him, I thought their goal line stand here was really good. Like Bobby is there, and just does not have enough momentum to stop him. So I just want to give a lot of credit to Bobby Wagner on this because he stopped him on the first two plays. And if he has even a little bit more momentum, I think he makes the stop here. But he just doesn't have the momentum that he does to get into the end zone. But he is there and stops him, which is like Bobby's reading all these plays so well. And for him to be there and like, you know, extra effort gets him in. But man, like Bobby this game was, you know, we've talked about his play, but he was on fire. Like he was where he needed to be. Like, he had 2 sacks. Like, yeah, he was awesome this game.
Oh, we will get to those because Bobby was
just did a good play and just extended and stretched across the goal line. Like
it's just simple inertia. The guy had a larger head start than Bobby did, and that's kind of how he just beat him. Like this play right here, as soon as this play starts, what we were talking about the entire time, there is just there is nobody there.
I like that one-on-one.
Russell's like, I need to just go right here because the safety over here is right over the top with Tyler, and either like this is
down here with the linebackers.
Well,
that
that's
not-
his other safety, but that's saying the other safety's
Yeah.
coverage over here, and that he's like, I'm gonna be over the top with Tyler.
Well, isn't that who DK is pointing at right now?
Yeah, I think they're communicating. They're like, this is what is happening right now, and so he's like, you need to throw this ball as soon as this ball goes up, because I think they think he's coming, and he does.
And he does. Yeah.
And so then he's like, okay, and then he just stops, and then he's like, you're gonna blitz from that side, and I'm just gonna throw it to DK every time. And the other safety was being so close to Tyler, he couldn't get over in time.
Actually, Pochik, I think. Well, Pochik's pointing to 57, but he could have been pointing to the clear.
Yeah, see, he's changing
here.
something. He's changing something right here, and he's like, okay. And then no, yeah, you're right, Kevin. I think they saw it because they adjusted scheme right here. So
I think Pochik saw it as well because watch Pochik point.
Because Brown takes the outside guy. They know he's coming. They knew he was coming the whole time, and it was just enough time to be like, all right, just a couple step drop and just huck it. And of course, Russell throws a gorgeous ball, and that's a nice read by DK too. What Kevin talked about weeks ago, didn't show his hand early, didn't show his arms. He waited for him right before the ball got there.
He's been very impressive on that.
Got the ball, got it out there real
Yeah,
quick.
if we can just teach Chris Carson to do that, that'd be great.
Oh gosh, well, he's a running back.
But at the same time, too, like we also have to tell Russell fucking missile that ball into his hands.
Well,
like
yeah.
don't lob it.
This one I absolutely loved because DK just used his body. He's using his body. This
this was nuts. He got held out of his bra strap too.
Oh, there's the flag too. Yeah.
This is what Mr. Mayer taught us in 6th grade basketball is just use your body and box out. Like that's all it is.
Which was something the first like 8 weeks of the season he didn't do. Like last year. Like he just didn't do this. And I was like, why? You're a huge mountain of a man. Like, how is this guy supposed to
now the catch is tough. Like the catch,
oh yeah,
his hand is there, so it's not an easy catch either way, even with using your body. But just
like it's not even
60% catch rate is cool with me as long as you make those.
He stops at the top of his route too. He doesn't. It's not even a great run route. He's just like.
Also, can we notice that Russell has hands in his damn face when he's throwing this ball too? Like,
we'll get to another Russell throw later, but that is just
God. Like I will admit I was super hard on Russell last week because he did have a really not so great game, even though his season is he's still having a godly season. Like he's having the best stat season in PFF history.
Yeah, no, he's having an amazing.
But his cleanups this game were just beautiful. So Russell, keep it up. We love you.
Kev believes.
Kev believes still.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I want to talk about some more defensive plays. This was great discipline by this defense. So this is like, I kind of like this play call, actually, this play design by the 49ers. And in the past, it would have worked, I think, with a super aggressive defense. But right here, they all stopped. They all saw what was happening. And I don't know why he still threw it, but that's just because it's Jimmy G. But then he throws it, and it's just, they blew this play up. It was just great. It was just great discipline.
Also, good heads up.
Well, also when Jimmy G's running, you're not scared. Like it's not Kyler.
It was like what Kevin's highlighting. What's more down here? They were worried about.
But what I want to mention with Alton Robinson, because that's Alton Robinson right here, and then this is Reed, two guys who haven't really played. They're not getting caught up. Like, Robinson's just pushing. He's not actually getting tangled up because of the potential screen that's coming that way. That's a good heads up with DJ Reed also not getting tangled up, because that's a lot of times how screens get successful. Your guys get tangled up and they just and then they just blow the shit up.
I'm honestly surprised he doesn't throw it to Kittle down here.
He does, but he has guys here, and here.
Looking at the top, I think I'm going to take my chances with Kittle.
Well,
in this situation,
if they block correctly, you have 4 guys here for the block. You take this.
But they all read this, and he's already throwing. See, like
it
is a design screen, and you literally have 4 blockers. So
this is when he kind of has to make the decision. Matthews, like right here, and this is not a great play right here.
And Kittle's not even looking at you right here.
And these 3 guys in the middle
Kittle doesn't turn
trying to
now.
figure it out too.
Yeah. He basically has to make that decision right there. That is not a great Kittle throw.
The moment Kittle turns, Jimmy's already looking back towards the screen.
This play's probably
which
the
indicates
better play.
to him that it's coming back that way.
And I don't know who this is, but this is probably the better play, honestly. I'm not throwing it to Kittle here. I'm throwing it here.
Yeah. I don't even think Kittle even
had a
thought to go that way, though.
I was going to say that takes Jimmy.
This is Kendrick Bourne. That's Kendrick Bourne.
That takes more Jimmy G to actually think about it. But that was just great discipline that they did not react to the play and didn't bite to it, because I think in the past they would have.
Mhm.
And so it was just good not to see them do that.
All right, we got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. We got to see Bobby Wagner sack.
All right, we'll get to Bobby Wagner's sack. Oh, is this the beginning of the third quarter? When he murders him?
Murder.
This play, Bobby Wagner showing defensive player of the year for this play alone.
Red rum.
He hits like everybody. Just blows up 2 blockers and then makes the tackle. Like, that dude is just.
Can you
Bobby was a
Yeah,
man
I
possessed this game.
Yeah.
I was.
Just.
I'm not gonna lie, and this might be a
little.
little inappropriate,
Well,
but I
no.
had a chubby with Bobby.
No, those
Like-
2 guys stopped blocking the guy that is like
That's
trying to tackle Jimmy, and then
that's,
had to
Reed.
focus on Bobby. Yeah, they both
Yeah.
stop and try and block Bobby, and they don't.
Reed technically doesn't do anything on this play.
Can we see the other view? Can we see the other view? I
Yeah,
think it's
he
gonna be better.
actually doesn't get blocked, or he doesn't actually tackle Jimmy G. Bobby does all 3 of those things. Now, Reed does slow him down, obviously, but Jimmy G's not getting away from Bobby. Let's just be honest here.
Well, he
Kinda
also
takes 3
comes.
blockers.
Well, he
Yeah.
also kind of
Mhm.
comes around with the stunt, because it looks like he's coming up the other side. And can you actually rewind it back a little bit?
Also, I gotta get it on Reed a little bit here. Like,
So
Reed,
pause right here. Pause right
you
here.
had Jimmy dead to rights, and you didn't wrap up.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta,
Okay, yeah.
you gotta wrap up.
Yeah.
man.
Okay. So you got the running back.
like Reed
they've
should have got
it-
that sack right
They've
there.
got it here because I mean Ford is matched up, Bobby's matched up. They're all matched up. The running back's going to take the guy on the left side, but
Bobby is
But
Bobby
Reed,
just-
Reed
these three
cuts
right here.
in. Reed
Bobby
cuts in.
takes all 3 of them out.
All 3 of these guys is Bobby, which is just absolutely nutty.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Reed cut. And
Yeah,
then Bobby
McKinnon
comes
is in the
out.
wrong spot. McKinnon takes him, and then the other 2 linemen go after.
Yeah, I
Bobby.
think
Like,
McKinnon
what?
tried to go out on a route, and Bobby just blew him up.
Ah,
Like,
DJ,
just
like, how do you
ran-
not get him there,
Just
bro?
ran straight into him. But don't worry, Kevin. Bobby's
I
there.
know.
Actually, he might have
And
been
I-
falling either way.
Well,
but,
yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is so unathletic. He's
think-
just kind of
I think actually Reed was gonna get the sack either way, but
Probably.
I think he's falling. But Bobby got the credit for it at the end there.
God.
But still, either way, Bobby just killing fools.
Okay. We're gonna go to the blow up where Bobby just murders him.
Which one is it?
I think it was the beginning of the 3rd quarter,
No, it's right here.
or no, 2nd quarter red zone, right?
We
Yeah.
have to put a disclaimer on this. Viewer discretion is advised. You're about to witness live murder.
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah.
If
123.
there's
Mhm.
children in the room, please have them leave or cover their eyes. You're about to witness Bobby Wagner murder a man. So,
Is this a play he's untouched? No. Okay.
Largely.
he pretty much is. Oh,
he just kind
God!
of gets airborne in a really silly way too, which always makes me laugh. Like he kind of like get caught, like got like halfway.
Well, he just does one stunt and
Oh.
just blows. Like that's a defensive lineman move right there. Just
Gosh.
bam, bam.
Well, that's
Bobby's
just
so fast. Though.
Bobby just pushes him to his right and just goes by him, and then like form tackle. Like, oh, jeez.
man. He just that was rough. That was rough, Jimmy. That was
Bobby.
rough. You should have just God, just
He has a
straight up
family.
beats him.
Bobby,
Like,
he has a family, man. God.
I want to do one thing to say that it actually happened. We saw it. It was a real thing. Okay, not a failure. Okay, Pete Carroll, John Schneider, are geniuses. I'll just watch the play and we'll talk about what happened. Here, we'll go here. This
Oh.
angle's better. This angle's better. Look at 91. Collier like did a thing. Like
Can
it's-
we see it like not super speed?
oh shoot, sorry, but
I know it's just regular speed, but
Collier, like, it's not a waste of a first round pick, guys, a year later. He actually, in week 8, a year later, he did something, guys.
Yay!
Guys, it's like official.
Well, I
Like,
mean, technically,
the blocker just lets him go.
well, yeah, but that's what happened in week 1 against Bruce Irvin, and Bruce Irvin got a sack, and everyone thought he was a genius.
technically, you're also forgetting about he helped out in the cam stop too. He blew that
Oh,
play
okay.
up.
The lineman gives him one push and then lets him go by.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're ignoring that fact, but actually, to be fair, he did have to block the other guy too because we brought too many people.
I mean, true, but stick with your assignment and let that guy come off the edge and
Reed again? Reed would have actually murdered him.
I mean,
like,
in theory, he didn't murder him, but he had the chance of Bobby Wagner taking 3-on-1.
You don't let a corner get a free run twice in a game, Matthew. They're gonna hit him eventually.
Fair.
But I just wanted to and then the last one I wanted to touch on was Russell just being an absolute monster. This is Kevin was talking about his play. I wanted to go on this angle right here. This is the touchdown to Moore. So the craziest part about this play is he has to move. Like he has to juke and he goes off balance. He takes a step, throws off balance into a window. Like that's just insane.
I don't want to say a window, but it is an impressive throw. He's wide open.
I love the DJ Moore like spin-a-rooney at the end too. That was adorable. Let's get a little bit
wide open.
Oh,
in the red zone, wide open. This linebacker is not near him. There's no one around him. These three guys are scrambling to get to David Moore.
That's like they're 2 yards away from him.
That is missed assignment from 57 right there. He should be running with him, and he's like, "Oh, wait, this guy's not following him."
No, he's in zone, and the other guy.
He's playing spy.
Yeah,
he's making sure Russell doesn't take it up.
Well, either way, that was a hole in the zone. That's a good throw. I mean, you can't fault the throw because he's off balance here, but.
He literally sidesteps and then has freaking Simmons also getting pressed up into him and throws that throw.
So he just caught the ball, and there's three people right here, Matthew. Like, maybe you could say 24 over here is not super close, but, like, that's not a nothing throw. Like, they're both right there. And he was on one leg and threw that.
Yeah.
That's the more impressive thing to me is the one-legged throw. David Moore is – I could make that throw. If I am not on the, I can't make this little dance.
You could probably do this though. You could probably do this. What Lewis did. Like watch what Lewis does here. You could probably do this. You know, just get juked out of your mind.
Oh God!
And I hold him a little bit too.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not called. So
you probably could have done that.
Got away with that one.
Well, holding happens on every play, guys. Stop complaining about it. All right, I'm just gonna say that out loud.
Since I know we have a little time left, I was going to just take like 20 seconds to one thing I did note. An unsung hero for the past couple of weeks that we haven't even mentioned is Mr. Big Dick Dixon.
Our
punter has been playing out of his freaking mind. Like some of his punts have just been nutty. Like we're just blessed to have that.
He was one of the MVPs in the Minnesota game. He pinned within the 20 like 4 times or 5 times. So
it was super weird. He was really bad last year. He was good this year, then bad last year, then like good again. I don't know what happened.
Found his stride. I don't know. Sophomore slump.
Boop. Yeah, I don't know, but he's really good. Like he's been really good this year.
I mean, special teams overall has been pretty solid. Impressive. I mean, Jason Myers
had the turnover.
Fairly
had the turnover this week on it.
Yeah.
So by Cody Barton being a sexy girl.
The Seahawks had number 3 special teams in the league, so they were very good.
Yeah.
I mean, we never talk about it, but special teams, those kickers, when it comes down to it.
Well, that's also.
I did have somebody
go ahead.
ask like, what's wrong with Myers? And I was like, well, he's missed 1 kick. I mean, come on. He's missed 1 extra point, 1 field goal a year. He hasn't kicked a lot of field goals, but I mean, he's missed 1.
Before the Arizona game, he only had 4 kicks?
A bunch of extra points. But like, I mean, we're not asking him to do a lot. We're probably still overpaying him, but he's been basically perfect.
Well, also, I want to say, like, our kicking hasn't been great after we let Stephen Hauschka go. I mean, we brought in Blair Walsh, who was not good. And then we had Seabass, who gets hurt in our playoff game, and then we don't have him anymore.
Also terrible.
Yeah, Seabass is terrible.
And so it's nice to have some consistency at the kicking position and the punting position.
Dixon wasn't very good, or Myers wasn't very good last year, so he was actually terrible.
But I mean, this year he's consistent and he's making most of his field goals. Like, we're not losing because of a kicker, that's for sure.
Yeah,
you're paying a lot for him. Is kind of the problem.
Yeah, well, kickers want to get paid too. I mean,
the main thing too that kind of helps is that you kind of keep it away from his legs by letting Russell throw it. That kind of helps a little you know.
Yeah, I
little
mean
bit.
the best part is if you just score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Just don't kick.
And then just tell them to kick it into the end zone on the
Yeah, that's
on
your
the
job.
kickoff.
Just kick
Yeah.
it in the end zone.
Just to have it put, So
Yeah,
All
that
right.
would be my spend the money scoring touchdowns.
All right, well, let us know what you think about the Seahawks going up against the Bills. Tweet at us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. And Kevin is at Kev Believes with the first E in Believes being a 3. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Tell us what you think. And, tell us where you're going to be watching it. If you're going to be in Buffalo, let us know how cold it is, actually, because 60 degrees in November seems not Buffalo. But
there's no one in Buffalo. It's a myth.
That's what I kind of miss, though, is the Bills Mafia doing crazy things. Like, I do miss it a lot. Like, just tables and people doing dumb crap, like setting tables on fire and stuff. Oh.
Yep.
People having sex in the parking lot randomly.
Whoa.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah. Bills fan.
Bills Mafia, they go hard.
Yeah, that's happened more than once, actually. So, but yeah.
Yep.
Well, hopefully Bills Mafia doesn't get to celebrate this one. Break tables at home if you want to, but I think the field is going to be mostly Seahawks this week. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but let us know what you think. And gentlemen, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.
Yeah.